Hey everybody, my name's Josh Brandon. I'm the writer and director of our little short film, Alexa. We had hoped to bring you this film over the course of the year by showing up in a city near you and going to a film festival and hanging out, but unfortunately the pandemic sort of put paid to that idea. But feel free to go to the website and see all the festivals we would have played and some of the virtual ones we're still going to be doing. In fact, we were about to play our first LA festival when the pandemic struck and we all had to cancel our evening plans. So we thought the next best thing was to finally release the film online and bring it all to your homes. So, and the next best thing, since we can't talk to you after the screening, is to do it right here. So we just put together this little video to tell you a little bit about our experiences making this short film, which we hope you enjoyed. So without further ado, I would love to introduce the cast of this movie, starting with your friend and mine, Jonathan Sadowski. Hey, Jonathan. And then next up, we have Rachel Nichols. Hey, Rachel.
Hi, Rachel.
So next up is Reggie Brown.
Yeah.
Reginald Aloysius.
Yes,
What's up, dude?
Chillin', and that is not my middle name, damn it.
Next up, we have Angie Sims.
Yeah.
Angie.
Yay. Hi, Angie.
Hey.
All right, yeah. And last but not least, Katie Pierce, the voice of Alexa in the
Yes.
play.
Hello.
It's great to see you guys. I wish we could do this in person.
I know.
Yeah.
But alas.
Alas, yeah. But it's great to have everybody here. I'm so thrilled we all got to make this movie. And so I thought we would just sort of throw it out there and ask, what are your memories of making this way back in May of 2019?
I would love to be the first person to kick this off.
Please do.
I will never forget. Josh and I were sitting around and chatting, and he goes, "I have this crazy idea for a short film." He's like, "Do you know like Alexa listens to you like at all times?" And I'm like, "What?" So he tells me this, and he's like, he gives me the premise, and I was like, I was on board the minute he mentioned like he wanted to do a short film about this, about infidelity and Alexa and how people are always like the big brother aspect of it. And what my favorite memory of it was that Josh sent me the script, and I rewrote it and I sent it back to him.
Yeah, twice as long.
and like no joke. So Josh wrote this script, and I sent it back, and I was like, I think it should be this way. And Josh is like, he's like, that's like we can't afford this. It's like literally, it would have been like $100,000 to shoot the version I wanted to shoot. And I was like, you know what? I was like, Josh, I love your vision. I love your. I was like, you know what? You're right. Let's do it. And
Well, that is true, except he never uttered the phrase, "You're right."
Yeah, I'm sure he didn't. I knew the story wasn't making sense.
You know what?
Yeah, I was like, what's happening?
But yeah, and then it was really cool to be a part of the process of filmmaking. And when I say filmmaking, it's like from development to casting, and I will, I thank Josh for giving me the chance to bring some of my friends into this film, and we had the final script down, I was like, dude, Rachel Nichols, Reggie Brown, and look who we have sitting here right now. And it's crazy too, because I also knew Angie.
Yeah, that's right.
I knew Angie, but and she wanted to become a part of this, but it was through Josh. And I just want to say, I want to thank Josh for this process. And it was like working with a group of friends, which is there's nothing like it.
No, that's true, and it was really fun. Like I always just wanted to make this for Jonathan, with Jonathan, and that's why I called the character John, although I spelled it with an H. But and occasionally he would ask, "What's my character's name again?" Pronounced differently, it's Jean.
Jean.
But speaking of casting, it's true. Jonathan was basically our unofficial casting director on it, and it's so funny that we managed to find Angie, and you guys knew each other anyway. But I also want to talk about how we found Katie, which was we were looking for someone to mimic the Alexa voice. And at the time, our producer, Matt Toronto, who's from Michigan, strangely enough, from the Michigan Toronto, he found online, or it might have been our other producer, Rebecca Jones. Between the two of them, they found a couple of demos, and they found a thing online where you could plug in whatever you wanted and Alexa would read it to you. But there was no dramatic reading to it. It was just an exact replica of how she would sound. So there was no acting there. And then our editor, Joe Fulton, who, by the way, has since been nominated for an Emmy. So that's bloody awesome.
Attaboy.
Nice.
Nice.
For Will and Grace, which is spectacular. He said, I might have someone who can sort of demo this. And Katie, you should probably tell the rest of the story because I didn't even know who you were. And then,
So the day that you all filmed was the day that I moved to LA from Florida. It was literally my first day. I picked up the key from Joe because I lived with him for my first 3 weeks out here. And so I kind of knew a little bit about what you were working on, saw him editing it. And he mentioned that they were looking for a voice for Alexa. And I'd done a bit of voice acting while in Orlando. So I was like, well, sure, I'll go for it. And I actually built a sound studio in this closet right here. You can see how teeny tiny this closet is. And just submitted my audition and Josh seemed to like it. So
well, I mean, Katie, at this point, you have to give us a demo of like, if someone were to say, Alexa, read my notifications, you would say,
John, you have 12 appointments today.
So good.
That's
the
awesome.
best bit of that in the movie is, and it's cut together perfectly by Joe, and John's acting is perfect in it. It's the moment when Katie as Alexa says, I don't know how to do that. And then John's like, yes, you do delay. And she's like, I'm sorry, I don't know how to do that. So good. It's great.
So good.
Yeah.
That must have been fun. You moved out here, and on the very first day, you got the best possible LA experience, an acting job for no money.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Just kind of fell in my lap. It was perfect.
Yeah. And John, how did you and Angie know each other?
Whoa.
Maybe I should ask Alexa.
Do tell.
I will say it's actually not that crazy of a story. I used to have Super Bowl parties at my house when I lived in Laurel Canyon, and Angie was dating a friend of mine, and they came to my house for a Super Bowl party, and that's when I met Angie. And after that, I've been following her on Instagram and watching her videos and stuff like that, and she's fucking hilarious. I knew when she got cast, I was like, oh, she's adding a depth of comedy that like was not like I didn't see coming from that character. And Angie, you slayed me. There were times like when we were on the couch and like when you act like you're crying, and then you look at me and you're like, I love it. And I was like, you actually. Like, I thank the editor because I was literally laughing my ass off and could not, like, you slayed me. You know,
watching that, though, I was going to say, like, the thing I remember most is you making me laugh. I was always smiling a little bit. If you watch it, I'm always smiling a little bit when I do a scene with you. Even when I was crying, I was like you can see I'm smiling. I'm like, come on, Angie. But yeah, it's so funny actually. That Super Bowl party, I think that was like the beginning of like the end because I was like, obviously I hate sports, and I'm like, you brought me to like a sports party, and we got in a fight. I remember that day. But you were we got
into a fight.
No, me and the guy I was dating at the time.
I thought
we
you
got in a
meant
fight. We were. No. You're like, we did? No,
so wait, so what you're saying is you're
why we broke up.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
That's greght.
But wait, I want to actually bring it back real quick to the whole casting process too. And I thought it was like, Reggie and I we've known each other since college, like over 20 years. Cool. And when this character came out about like this guy who like loved wine, and Josh, I was like, dude, we have to have Reggie in this.
That was perfectly casted. Yes.
I was like, this is our guy.
Well, it was great timing too, because I knew Reggie and I met you just like sort of on and off at one of John's things, but it was that New Year's party when you just had a very small gathering and we just hung out till 2 or 3 in the morning.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, this will be great. This is exactly. And I was really happy to see you exercise your chops not playing Obama.
Yeah, me too. Jesus. I mean, it's been such a blessing for 10 years, but to get roles not playing him is always welcome. And everyone on, you just had the perfect storm of the cast, the crew, everyone together coming in. I just came back from Vietnam a few days before we shot, and I was on another level, like jet lagged and all that. And everyone just made it so comfortable. The energy was great. And yeah, the laughs were awesome, and I love being a part of it.
And for the people who don't know, like Reggie is #1 Obama impersonator in the world. Like he may resemble Obama now, but he's not only an Obama impersonator, he's a keynote speaker. He does completely catered events, and you should look him up. And watching him go from Obama to this character, it's awesome to see. That's what I love about acting. That's what I love to see about acting. Yeah.
Thanks for the plug.
Well, you know what's fun on that, Reggie? I was just going to say, I worked with an actress recently who is English but plays American most of the time on TV, Marina Sirtis. And I said, how does it feel to be able to play with your real accent? And she said, well, actually, I'm Cockney, so it's not my real accent. But she was doing like a received pronunciation British accent. But for you, it was like, how does it feel to work with your own ears?
It was awesome, man. It really was.
What I really appreciated when we got to do this is when this is the first thing I ever wrote and directed myself. I've been a writer on TV shows, and I've been a theater director in Australia, but this was the first time I got to put my vision completely on screen. And when you don't have a lot of money to play with, you rely on favors. But I got really lucky because through John and through other people, my friends and favor people are actually really talented, well-established actors. So for me, it was awesome when you guys all came over for the table read, and then we started rehearsing, and everything changes. Rachel's throwing lines in, and you guys are interacting together, and it was just so cool to be able to do that.
Well, I actually have to sing Rachel's praises for a minute. It's a really funny story about how Rachel and I met. When I first moved to LA in 2002. Rachel was already a big model and an actress, and I was literally like waiting tables and bartending, and there was this movie that was being cast. So sometimes when you go to auditions, they have readers in there. So I was one of the readers where the casting director had me in the room to read with the actors as their audition was going on. And so I'm in the room for this audition process, and that's when I met Rachel, and she knocked it out of the park. And afterwards, I go downstairs to the lobby, and we're all about to leave, and I was like, Rachel, it was like so good to meet you, and we like chit chat, and you know, she knew one of my college friends, Gabriel Cohen, and all this stuff happened. And then as we were leaving, Rachel comes running up to me, and she like grabs me, and she's like, hey. I was like, what's up? She goes, do you have any cash on you? I was like, I go, yeah, why?
Yeah.
And literally, the ATM was broke in the hotel, and Rachel had parked her car in the hotel lot, and she didn't have any cash on her, so I gave her the $5 to get her car out of the parking lot.
Wow.
And that's how, but no, ever since then, we've been like friends, and then like crazy intersections that happened with her and like friends from college and stuff like that. And it's just like everything just came full circle. It's hilarious.
Everything crazy.
Yeah.
So, I still have a picture from you and me at night that I met Kevin Volchek at Trocadero.
At the Sunset Trocadero.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All day long.
I love these intersections, these Hollywood stories, because they're so random. And I'm sure for every story of somebody connecting randomly, there's 1,000 where somebody showed up, nothing happened, and they went back to, Cleveland. But I do love, Katie arriving on the first day and happening to stay with our editor who happened to recommend her. Or even the way Jonathan and I met was that we had a mutual friend, Amanda Rigetti, and they were in Friday the 13th together. And I got a call from Amanda's husband at like midnight, and he said, or a text or whatever, and he goes, hey, the cast of the movie's coming back to our place for an after party. Do you want to come?
Oh my God, that's
and
right.
That was back then when I was young enough to think, yeah, I'll get dressed again and go out to a Hollywood party, at midnight or 1 a.m. So I show up at 1:30, and Jonathan's holding court with everyone, and we're just getting along like a house on fire. And I remember, I don't know if you remember this, I just took him aside and I just went, I think you and I should be friends.
Cute. That's adorable.
That is adorable.
5 years later, he was a groomsman at my wedding.
Yes,
Wow.
I was.
Aww.
Wow.
Yep.
So what I thought I might ask is, does anybody here have an interesting or weird story of an encounter with Alexa?
No, but I do actually. But can I this picture?
I can see it.
Oh
I
my
can see it.
God.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's us.
You guys.
Cute. Adorable.
I I do have a story about Alexa, but it was not a useful one. My husband trying to get Alexa to call 911, and she said she didn't know the number.
Oh, thank you. Wow.
Yeah, not the best thing for Alexa. I'm not like, but it would. I mean, there's all these Big Brother stories, and like I'll research a dog bed, and then suddenly it'll be like, "Would you like to buy this dog bed?" From no prompting at all. But then you need Alexa to call 911, and she doesn't know the number.
912.
Wow. Typical.
I had a different experience with a different type of AI very recently, because I just moved back into Joe's, and I was asking my phone to set an alarm, and then I hear a voice from the same room but a little farther away, and we have no idea where it came from. So I asked this AI to tell us a joke just so that we could find where the sound came from. And then we found it. It was terrifying.
What was it?
It's terrifying.
What was the joke?
It's like an Alexa, but a different one.
Oh.
Yeah.
The only thing like it's not even like a creepy story. My Alexa's like sometimes like refuse to shut off. So I have one in my front room, one in my my other room, and then one in my like the master bedroom. So they're on the everywhere network. So like if you talk to one, they all work, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And one day I was like, Alexa, play blah, 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 whatever, like Frank Sinatra, for example. And so all they're playing, and then like my phone started ringing nonstop, and I was like, Alexa, off. And it like wouldn't stop. And I was like, Alexa, off. And I was like, Alexa, shut the f up. And everything shut off. I swear to God. So this is not a joke. And I swear to God, so now every time Alexa, if I haven't played music, I cut right to the chase, and I go, Alexa, shut the f up. And all the music stops.
Was this before or after we made the film?
Before.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Because we know from the end, when Rachel unplugs it, it still comes back to life right at the end.
Angie has to have an Alexa story.
Oh, well, I do know that she favors my boyfriend over me for sure, because he like installed her. It's like she does not listen to me at all. Like the tone of his voice or something. She's like, "Yes, Tyler, whatever you want," and like the bitch does nothing for me. Like
Did she actually call him Tyler?
Yes. He programmed her to be in love with her. Yes. It's wild. Like she hates me and she does anything that he says. Like she does not listen to she doesn't understand me, first of all. But this is my life with Alexa. It's not even an experience. It's a lifestyle.
Look, if it were up to me, we wouldn't use them. But my wife
exactly
loves it, and I said, okay, but not in our room. And then one time we talked about something, and somehow the name, because she has a really good friend back in Ohio named Alexa. So she says Alexa, and then you just hear this. And I go, where is that? You said you wouldn't have one. And it's like, oh, my Kindle or whatever it is, like my iPad mini or whichever one is attached to Alexa was in the room. But at our old house, we had this really deep backyard. And my wife, Liz, and I were in the backyard with our 3 adorable dogs. And then suddenly we hear music coming from inside the house. And we look at each other and we walk back in, and it's about 25 feet from the very backyard where we were back into the house. And we walk back in and Alexa is playing music. And there is no way that either of us requested anything. We would
but that's when you realize every time your dog barks, it sounds like Alexa.
Yeah, it must. That's right. But that was crazy. We looked at each other like, what is going on here? She's got a mind of her own.
Before even working on the film, I just started to become really paranoid around devices, because I started seeing these ads popping up of things I was talking about with friends that I wasn't even Googling or anything. And then it would just show up on my Instagram or my Facebook. And I'm like, how the fuck is this happening? So most times, and even when it's like me and John, we're sitting around and we're talking, like I start whispering sometimes, or I'll take my phone and sit on it or turn it off. It's just so weird. You don't know what they're listening to, who's listening. After watching The Social Dilemma, you're just sitting there like,
oh, I know
what is happening right now? But
yeah.
I think that it definitely speaks to huge audience. I mean, I love the
and yet we did the comedy version of it.
So guys, I don't know if you know what we actually had to do to make this film happen. Josh actually had a house that we used, and he was moving out of the house into his new house. And the only way this film was going to happen without us paying for locations was if we had the house that he was moving out of set up, and then we moved everything out to make it seem bare. So we shot the entire thing in reverse. So I just want to say,
Wow.
if there's any question about Josh's dedication to art, it's out the fucking window, because this guy is committed to projects. And no joke, like without his vision, this wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, he's all in.
Well,
That's
thank you very
great.
much. And a big shout out to Tessa Binder, our production designer, who made all that happen as well. It was beautiful. But thank you guys. I really hope everybody gets a chance to enjoy the film. It was such an honor working with all of you, and I know we'll all work together again. So thank you. Please check out everybody's work. Check out the film, spread it far and wide. Cool.
I love it.
You guys, thank
You
you.
too.
Guys, good to see you
Bye.
all.
Everybody.
Yeah, bye.
Take care.
Bye.